Hey guys, seem like it's just one of those days. I'm gonna be sitting around here, so I might make a few videos. One of them slow days. Nobody's really spoke about violence around the election. I don't mean to be repetitive with this, but it's a real concern of mine. Obviously, I'm prepared. I've been prepared, but even more today. I look at the election and the danger of the election kind of like when you had the impeachment of Trump by the House. I think that was December of last year. I was working for Billy Graham. I was working for that charity he's got, the shoebox charity thing, Christmas. Yeah. And I brought a gun with me. I was armed that day when I went into work. Yeah, like look. Not sure if you guys remember this, but there was an actual radio guy in Denver, I believe, that made the statement that he hoped there'd be a mass shooter or something to distract from the impeachment. He lost his gig, he lost his job. But it just shocked me because I remember back when like Christian stations would like advertise as being unpolitical and how it was just about praising God and stuff like that. And so it shocked me that in a state, I think it was like near Aurora, where they had that shooting at that movie theater, and you'd had that shooting on, forget Columbine, back in the day. I was a boy. It was a reckless statement to make. And it just, to me, that was the beginning of me realizing that these people are really this desperate. Because it'd be one thing if it was some bumpkin from East Texas or something. Once I keep bringing him up, keep using him as somebody to attack. But dude, there's probably listeners who remember Columbine. There's probably listeners that remember whatever, that Aurora shooter. It wasn't that long ago. And for you to say that it was such a low blow, but it's just another example of how vicious this presidency has really been. Like how he's really lowered the bar and he's made it to where anybody can get it. At any time. For any reason can get it. And that's wrong. Yeah, that's really, really, really ugly. It's really, really wrong if that's the case. That anybody can get it. Nobody is sacred. Nothing is sacred. You hope for a mass shooter. I remember back then just how dangerous that was. And thankfully there was no violence. There was no violence. And who knows what the federal government, they know about that was going to happen. If they stopped, they never revealed to the public. We don't know. But I've got the same mindset that I had during that event that I have now. I'm a working man. I have very little power over who gets elected president and who doesn't. It's like I have very little power over who gets impeached and who doesn't. I have to survive and work out here with these crackers. I'm literally working with my enemy. I've talked about Pennsylvania and all that. I never knew it was ugly up here. And I've talked about how no matter who wins, I'll never forget this. And I'll never forgive this. If I ever hear anybody talk about like opioids or talk about like, I'll get up and walk out. Like meth and stuff, I'll get up and walk out. I don't care about these people whatsoever. Or their families or their children. I don't care. These are ugly people and they're willing to show you how ugly they are. They have no shame. It's like they want to have what the South. Get back on the subject. I'm concerned, man. Because what I've learned from the Trump thing so much is that if they can't get what they want, they'll use violence. They'll use violence. Oh yeah, they won't hesitate to do so. To get the change they want, they're willing to take lives and destroy property. So, who knows? Hopefully nothing comes of it. Hopefully Joe Biden's elected. I've even heard people talking about what if Joe Biden is the worst president. Not getting into that. I just think that as working people, black, trans people, Latinx people, whatever that's out there, you should be very careful. This is a very dangerous time. And I guess, that maybe this sounds repetitive, maybe it doesn't really touch you, but just be careful out here. Be mindful of where you are. Be mindful of what you're doing. Be mindful who's around you. I wouldn't go to any sporting events right now, even if there was no pandemic. I think the kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer, it shows you like the dastardly nature of these devils, that they're willing to take out anybody or anything that gets in the way of their fascist president. Even if they're just doing their job, anybody can get it. We're not even talking about gay people or black people or people who are living their truth. We're just talking about people who happen to disagree with Donald Trump. And kidnapping plot against the governor of Ohio, DeWine, that's another example of that anybody can get this. Trump has created a monster that he himself can't really control anymore, and I'm not even sure he cares. That was like one of the first things that came to my mind when I heard about it. I'm like, damn, they going after Republicans too. Yes, because when you are as unpopular as Trump is publicly, and you are so divisive as Trump is publicly, look, you can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool all of them all the time. It was a matter of time to where you had some Republicans turn against him. They're not turning against him, once again, for issues that are of importance. They're turning against Donald Trump simply because he's too radical. And his supporters are like, well, you can get it too. Boom. So that was a wake-up call to me, or a reminder of, hey, don't you get too comfortable. And don't you forget, the era that you're in. Don't forget that these folks are playing for keeps. And this is a dangerous time. I think about my parents out there. I think about people out there that have kids and have loved ones and stuff like that. I think about them. I think about what this must be like to interface with this kind of hatred. I can't imagine. I truly can't. It's a terrifying thought, that your children get hurt because of Trump. Trump's thing is he has destabilized the institution so much, and he's turned people against each other to such an extent that violence is possible. That is the real danger, I think, of a Donald Trump presidency. It isn't just that he's got racist stuff or whatever. It's that he's twisted up the institutions to where you can't trust the mail. You can't trust anybody but him. You should trust what he says, but not what anything else says. I don't know. I just be careful. Look, being in fucking Pennsylvania is not better or worse than the South. It's like it's already been conquered, and they're angry because they can't get back the world that they once had, and they're angry and they know it, and they know that the tide is not going their way because the squad and all that they're gonna stay in office. Like what I've seen with the whole Trump era, the left and heroes of the left, they're not losing their seats and positions. Gretchen Whitmer is still well liked. Larry Hogan is still well liked. Like, they're not, Like, it's rednecks that are like, yeah, let's go blow up. Let's go attack the courthouse. Let's go attack them. That's not indicative of the population as a whole. The fact that they've done this kind of dastardly stuff and conspired to do dastardly crimes. Whether Trump wins or loses, the role and the power of the Democratic establishment is It's not in question. That's the lesson that I like. Whether Trump gets reelected or not, like they're the ones that need to be scared, not us. And people up here, it's like they know that. Every day they're losing a little bit more, and they know that. Whereas the South is kind of like, we're backwards and we're aggressive, and that doesn't necessarily make us racist. We just are regressive people, you know. And we hate change, and we hate any kind of change. That's really, to me, what between the South and up here. Thanks for listening to my rambling. Have a good one.